Sometimes when you dyno test, you find things on accident. Stay tuned. So if you've been following along on our Project Sleeper 408 small block Chevy, you know in the very first video we ended up having problems on the dyno. It was breaking up at 5,700 RPMs. It's not that loud, and we tried all kinds of different things to fix it. Even adjusted the lifter preload. That didn't work. Come to find out, it was something as simple as the 12-volt wire going to the HEI distributor. You know I'm a huge fan of Progression Ignition, and one thing that I have learned doing dyno testing over the years is you have to be careful with a thing called implicit bias. Meaning that I may want something to come out in my favor, and I may try to do things to skew things, get the result that I'm after. So when you're doing dyno testing, it's imperative that you eliminate those variables and go into the testing with an open mind, even if it means a hit to your ego. So let's go back and let's watch a video when I had mixed up balls on the dyno, and I'll show you how much power it made with a Progression Ignition. So as you can see, we made 708 horsepower, pretty impressive. Didn't even use an aftermarket ignition box. That was just running off of the distributor itself. Now a lot of people said, well, you should have tried a different ignition, or you should have put an MSD box on it, or whatever the case is. Well, the fact is I was pretty happy with it, and so the opportunity came up for this test, and we could actually see the benefits of the Progression Ignition, if there was any, and did it make a difference in performance. So let's break down this test as scientifically as we possibly can. When you're doing a test like this, there can be many different variables. We used the same distributor cap, the same plug wires, the same rotor button, the same ignition coil. We basically just switched all of that stuff from the DUI to the Progressive Ignition and back. That way, we're not seeing results of a hotter coil or different cap and rotor configuration. We're actually seeing the difference in power based off of the module inside the distributor. Okay, so that is the information that I'm looking for, and that's the information that we actually obtained. In that particular test, we had brought another distributor with us. Joe had brought a Davis Unified Ignition HEI, which is one of the top HEI setups out there, period. And so this became an opportunity for us to do a back-to-back comparison between the Progression Ignition distributor and the DUI. So once everything got fixed, we fixed the wire, we made a run with the DUI, and then we switched everything back to the Progression Ignition, and we're getting ready to go over those dyno results. Let's take a look. Alright, DUI distributor versus Progression Ignition. When doing these tests, keeping variables consistent is extremely important. Looking at this is the DUI distributor. We had 165 degrees of coolant temperature, 172 degrees of oil temperature. Let's take a snapshot of the Progression Ignition. As you can see, the temperature goes to 161, temperature goes to 151, which would actually give the DUI distributor an advantage with the hotter oil temperature. The results are shocking. Let's take a look. So here's the dyno results back to back. The difference between the Progression Ignition and the DUI. The Progression Ignition is the black line, which made 494.3 pound-feet of torque. But look down here. This is where the meat and potatoes are. But you come up here and the difference is not so much. The difference 479. Greg, what was the peak on the red line? Here is the power. This was the max power of the DUI distributor. 472.6 horsepower. We'll call that 473, and 478 pound-feet. Now, mind you, both of these tests were ran at 34 degrees of ignition timing. We verified that multiple times throughout the test, making sure that we were commanding 34 degrees on the Progression Ignition. That's exactly what we seen on the balancer, and the same thing with the DUI. Why does the graphs look so different? The difference is that programmable ignition curve. With the DUI, you're still limited to having springs and weights and the mechanical advance inside there. And there's only so much fine-tuning that you can do with that. Now, you might be saying, well, the distributor could be recurved. Absolutely it could. But it already had the light spring and the heavy spring, right, Joe?
Right.
So, like I said, you're limited to what that mechanical advance will do. Progression Ignition, you go through the timing table and you can command any timing that you want or what the engine actually wants, and you will see that kind of power increase down low. Now, would I buy this for the power increase? It's a minor difference, okay? I mean, yeah, it's more power, but for me being able to adjust the timing curve on the fly with my cell phone, some people may be totally against that, but I'm for using technology to make the best out of my analog devices. Does that make sense? So, I hope you like that little test. And until next time, this is Andy from Unity Motorsports Garage. Greg?
Good seeing you.
Catch y'all later. We're tired.